Okay. Um. So I always start my video by saying thank you, God. This is something that's important for me to be appreciative of and thankful. And the reason why I'm thankful is I know, as bad as my life is as a target individual, which is why I make this video, is to not only give testimonials of what's happening to me, but at this point, everything that I'm saying have been said by me many times, and others have said the same thing. So this is something, it helps me also by making videos to just reinforce reality. But I say thank you, God, because I know that even though my life is bad, as I'm speaking right now, as I'm making videos, I can feel my organs on the side of my body being hurt, and it's been like that for a while. As a target visual, I deal with dark energy that destroy my organs and make me very unhealthy. And I know they've damaged my body, and I have no doubt that the damage that I'm dealing with is damage that is critical. And I don't expect that I will be treated if I go to the doctors. And matter of fact, I doubt that I will get proper treatments, because as target visual, we know all these entities partake in this, and there's a lot of doctors and those hospitals and things like that unfortunately are involved in what's happening, because this is a program led by the government. Now, with that being said, the participant can come in different fashion, from the most unimpressive individual to executive. Participant can come in all shape and form. As I'm saying that, they try to manipulate my brain, but it's a program that the government definitely runs, because the technology that we deal with and the resources that's put in is just some that you can make it seem like it's some kind of private entity doing that. It's clear governmental program, and there's been validation that these governmental entities have been working on this technology that can do what we deal with as target individual for a long time. Now, the stupidity, the retardation, the forced mental regress narratives are supposed to disorient you, to make you think that this is anything but this. And with me, and with a lot of target individuals, there's a lot of participation from very childlike individual. Matter of fact, a lot of actually children or teenage trash. This is what I call them. Their job is to disorient me into thinking that this is anything but massive government, and also kind of disorient you from seeing how foul this thing is, how disgusting it is, the atrocities of it all. Because they think that them being not adults changes the atrocities of what this program is. It's like they try to erase how bad of a atrocity this is by including children or childlike individual. And they expect you to start viewing this horror that's not only happening to men or even women, but also children, in this childish way. And so when I say thank you, God, it's like I could have been one of these clowns, because anybody can participate. But this low life deserves the worst, no matter how old they are, when they participate in that. I understand the concept of what is happening here, and they really are maximizing that. They thought that, well, for me and a lot of the target individual, I think it's the same concept, that there's so many teenage-like individuals. It's like they kind of want to minimize how foul, and not even the word foul is not the right word, how atrocious it is, and not just atrocious to you as a specific target individual, but to all the target individual. Some of them are children, babies. You're gonna hear some terrible, disgusting things that this trash are involved in, and what's happening to children as infants. And they think this childishness is going to minimize that. And that's the mistake. And that's why you're going to hear, or you've heard, a man like Steve Marlowe ended up killing a 15-year-old. Because this childlike trash are being they're doing their best to cover that up for what it is. Most target individuals are not going to subscribe to that. It's going to go bad. And unfortunately, it went bad for others. For me, it's really getting worse. And I ask God to give me the strength. But I know that I'm not going to be... I'm now going to be tolerant. Especially with these videos that you're going to hear. It's going to be bad. I did my best to restrain myself if these clowns were doing this thing. But there's a limit. And we're all going to reach that limit. And I don't care how this childish individual gamified this thing. This game has killed women and children. And so there's no gamifying this. Now, I'm a target individual who deal with the same thing a lot of target individuals deal with. It's scary. The thing that just keeps shocking me is just how systematic it is. Not just like what's happening to me is happening to me everywhere, but so many other target individuals say the same thing that it's just scary. Like, it's validating, because in this program, as a target individual who deal with V2K, synthetic telepathy, and direct energy, they really want you to accept this false reality. Even before I found out about being a target individual and how common this thing was that they do to us, I know it wasn't me. But to find out how systematic, how they do that to men, to women, and even children are being tortured in similar fashion. But how the testimonials are so similar, it's so scary. That, of course, it validates you. It adds to the fact that you manipulate my brain this way because this is what you do to others. And it's funny, for me, they keep using verbiage like, no, we're matching, we're mapping. And they use this teenage trash, which is also a typical thing in this program. There's a lot of childish individuals who try to gaslight the target individual into accepting whatever manipulation. And they utilize this childishness. The tantrums and all that are being expressed by the target individual in the same ways. It's scary. But these clowns at this point, because maturity of a teenager is comparable to a thumb. So they involve in something that's atrocious, destroying the life of people, and expect nothing of it, and gamify it as if like, okay, you're gonna play with people's life, you'll see how life goes for you. And there's nothing at this point that you can do to cover up this. Because we talk about matching, oh my gosh. Listen, it is almost it's surreal. To the level of matching between the target individual testimonials is scary. And today, the technology, like this AI, ChatGPT like technology, you can gather all the testimonials of target individual and hear the similarities. And ask, okay, so what is this? What does target individual say? Like, what's the common testimonials? What do they claim? What kind of manipulation do they claim the experiences? What kind of and then they give you like this technology that's supposed to like compile all the testimonial in an AI fashion. It's giving you the outlines of what they do over and over, like, and so you're like, oh my gosh, this is that obvious. Now, I already knew that. Right? I've got involved in the awareness of TI in 2020. I've heard the testimonials literally of different target individuals, the old-fashioned way, hearing their testimonials, read the testimonials, or listen to their testimonials. And it was already shocking. And there was books like Robert Duncan who wrote this book and listed all the different manipulation. So I already knew that. But today it's even faster and easier to get what a lot of target individuals claim is happening to them. And you can clearly see what they do. It is surreal. It is surreal. Because when you hate, so I've heard it. You've seen my videos with testimonials of others saying the same manipulation, being forced to have these disgusting thoughts, this pedophilia type of torture. Heard by the word pedophilia type of torture was said by a target individual called Mariana. right? Hearing similar testimonials from others. But not too long ago, I used this chat GPT like app called Gemini. And I started asking, okay, what are target individuals saying in regard to these manipulations? What are the degrading manipulation? And start bringing up a lot of target individuals talk about this pedophilia type of tortures. And they describe the things that in my videos, you heard a lot of what I'm saying many times for years. But to hear that so many other target individuals say the same thing. And you can hear that, target individuals say that, they manipulate the brain to have these sexual arousals, and it happens, they kind of time it to when they see children, force them to get sexual arousals, and give them to have degrading thoughts that's pedophilia-centric, and then having these perps, a lot of them being teenagers or others or parents, looking at them as if they got caught with a thought that in such a systematic way. All the things you heard me say for years, being heard by other target individual, but now compile these testimonials and outlined by this ChatGPT like app. It is surreal. And this clown has still tried to gaslight me as they manipulate me this way to make me subscribe to this manipulation that they do to others. The validation that even like the way they force target individuals to think in this nonsensical way, like a forced stupidity way of thinking, has been applied to target individual, which I've been saying is like they make me think in such a retarded way to make me subscribe to this manipulation. It's surreal. Then they use these clowns of this teenage trash that they commonly utilize in this program to torment the target individual, to try to make the target individual identify this manipulation. Everything has been validated by others because others have said the exact same thing. It's just too much. And this clown's like, no, what we're doing, we're matching to you when you were a kid and this and that. When you will remember 8th grade, there's something there. Like the clowns that are known to be doing the pedophilia type of torture in the ways you're going to hear are like, there's something there that we're not doing. We are. And then they force these retardations. Like, can you imagine what you're going to hear? It's going to be disgusting. In this manipulation, you're going to hear how women are being forced to have sexual arousal toward their own children to break them down psychologically. You're going to hear that, even the noise of kids, and those same people doing that, are involved in that, they're like, yeah, there's something with you, there's something else we're not doing. And then send the trashy, retard teenage clowns to try to gaslight you into accepting this. And then hear them, there's something there. They're poof fucking trash. And then you wonder why somebody like Steve Marlowe ends up killing a 15-year-old who's a neighbor, who he believes is a perp. I understood that there's a reason why they utilize this childlike participant. First of all, let's just say this teenage trash are not really it won't take much to get them to involve in something like that, okay? It doesn't even have to be about money, just the social status of it all. They gamify it. They probably find it exciting, fun. They feel like they're some kind of like in some kind of game, like they like need it, like. And it is also they try to mess with me, but they also have a sense of like hero. They think they get some kind of war. It's a game to them. You can have these retards participant that even for free. They feel like they're winners because in this program, the target individual is helpless. It's a program led by the government. The government is developing this technology and using us as a test subject. And the things they do to us, there's nothing we can do against it. We just endure it. So some loserness of teenager comes in and start making sound like, oh yeah, we're over because we destroy you. As if like the government didn't destroy you. They feel like winners. Some loserness. All they do is they have to be clowns. Some trashy shit. And you're going to even hear that even... Because with me, I've been saying... They've been talking about framing me in different ways. They've been talking about they're going to have children play rape victims and act like something happened to them, which is disgusting. But this is also a common tactic. That's how disgusting these trash are. They have these tendencies and these tactics of trying or try to make the target individual like they're a predator, and using this teenage shit to look like they're some kind of victimized individual. Nothing is done uniquely to me that they haven't done to others. There is even a portion where, I don't know if it's in this video, where the hacking of your devices, I know it's not the teenagers that do that, but I'm sure they participate in that. That's implanting things that are illegal, like child porn, implanting child porn in people's computers, like things like that. Other target individuals say they hack the computers and put things that, that it's probably like the child porn or something like that. This trash are disgusting. Now, the government entity are running this program, and they use these little bottom feeders, this nothingness, to be involved in this. And these government entities have issue pedophilia that's so disgusting. So I see them as this the little bottom feeder working for government entities filled with pedophiles. Utilizing this pedophilia type of tormenting tactics, using this teenage trash to play rape victims, to be the gaslighter, and to try to make the target individual identify with the manipulation they've done to others. I'm so thankful I didn't grow up in this nastiness. Right now they try to combat the obviousness. My brain is it's taking so much out of me to make this video right now, and that's because they don't like to be put the reality put in their face. Even though I've said all these things many times, it's just because now it's just addition of validation that's already validated a while ago. It's just there's no way to escape that they do this pedophilia type of torture to even women with children. You're gonna hear women who are forced to get sexual arousal toward their grandchild. Disgusting thought manipulation that target individuals bring up over and over. Things are so systematic. They even talk about the manipulation of perceptions, like making you see a child in this disgusting way, like manipulating the brain to have like this like perception that's like visual, like accentuating or creating a way to see a child that is more. I couldn't even believe. But you're going to hear that. In all my videos, I talked about this perception manipulation, where even when I look at the child is like changed in my mind. There's like features I created, like focused on, and just like to try to create a perception that this child becomes womanly. They do that all the time. This is the example. You've seen this video so many times, right? You see the screenshot there. I take screenshot of everything they do to me and make videos, or at least plan to make videos about them, just like this. Here you see a few pictures. Some of them you've seen it before in another video. Starting off, there's a little girl that looks funny over there. That's like a meme, kind of funny. And they try to, they weren't trying. They were making me have this experience and stimulation. They make me experience and be like, now where we mapped it, it's you when you're a child. The stupidity they try to make me subscribe. They did not manipulate my brain, but they're just mapping my brain to me when I was a child. These clowns are people who are known to be forcing people to have sexual arousals. They expect me to think that I should not think that they are manipulating my brain this way. Matter of fact, even if they're manipulating in a way that it should be matching to me when I was a child, but not matching to what they do to others. Clowns. They force the target individual to have, in a lot of circumstances, with target individual dealing with V2K and synthetic telepathy, they do this nasty manipulation where they force the brain to have experiences that's degrading toward these babies. And you're going to hear how common this is. And then to hear a little trashy teenage shit, whatever, or whoever is, try to be like, yeah, nah, real. I was like, okay. Yeah, you're still able to cover this up. Yeah, you definitely have made it look like you don't do these manipulations. You know, for women, like, yeah, we just map the brain. When in reality, the brain is mapped so they can manipulate you to have these experiences. So they know what part of the brain needs to be manipulated, or how they can map your brain signals so they can implant inputs in your brain. So when they want you to have sexual arousals, when there's a child, boom, experience. Stimulation, boom, experience. Thought process, boom. Sensation, boom. Perception, boom. Memory manipulation, boom. Manipulation. And then they send this fucking trash trying to disorient you and use these tactical gaslighting methods to try to brainwash you into internalize this. Everything has been, even the noise campaign they do, I'm experiencing here, called out. I found out even the dog barking. That's because you've seen my videos. Literally, you hear neighbors with their dog barking in one of my videos. I was like, I thought that was kind of unique to me. Other target even mentioned that, yeah, somehow the neighbors trigger their dog to bark every time I step out or something like that, or they will try to like disturb me when I'm on the phone or something like that, or when I'm... Everything they do to me that I've been saying for even that. The other things were obvious things, the color schemes, where they were dressed red and all that. I was like, I know that this is like part of this. Like, it's so there's so much testimonials, but they do the things exactly the same as how they target the target individual. But expect me to think, no, that is not. No, we're not doing the pedophilia type of torture that you heard. For you, we're matching. Yeah, you're matching to what you do to others. Disgusting clowns. And because it's too obvious that they're doing the things they do to break people down. They talk about how they're going to torture me. They're like, yeah, they're going to castrate you. They're going to do this and that and this and that. And I was like, whatever you have planned to try to cover it up, it's too late. That's what you guys do. They were trying to distract me. Yeah, maybe. It was like, yeah, shut up. So, and they have these things of try to create these like false confessions. And then try to disorient me, thinking, oh no, about for women, what you did to... I didn't put the torment of the sexual torture of women there, but you're going to hear what they do to children. The sexual torture of children is so disgusting. Children being sexually tortured and parents finding burn marks on the genitals of children. Or rashes. This trash are disgusting. And they make me imagine that. It's so disgusting. To poor kids. But this trash, it wanted me to be like, nah, we're just mapping you as a child. Pay. Matter of fact, as they manipulate me today, for example, when I see this little black girl, like, yeah, no, that's you, we mapped it to you as a child. Bringing up what I did to myself when I was in middle school. And try to even add memory manipulation, changing it, exaggerate it, and put stimulation I didn't experience when I was like, no, that was just... You try to exaggerate what I did as a child. You're falsifying my memories. And then you try to make me subscribe to these manipulations. Like, yeah, we matched it to you as a child. Trash as these fuckers are burning the genitals of children. And be like, yeah, that's abuse. When these trash are doing these things to children. No. Whatever way I face them, and I'll face them accordingly. They think the theatrical torture is going to cover up the reality of the tortures and abuses of what they've done to women and children, and the nasty manipulation that they've forced target individuals to experience, and then play the protector of children. Disgusting trash. So what you're seeing here is the typical things they've done to me. I'm going to go step by step. You see the little funny little kid over there, the little black girl? This is something they did to me even before. But they're like, yeah, no, this is matched. This is what you manipulate me. They've done things in my memories, even like the earrings and things that used to be like something that makes me want to gag, because I was like, I had like this phobia changing to something sexual. It's like, yeah, black little girls, you see that stimulation. It's like, no, you're planting this and manipulating my memories. And they're like, no, we're matching to that. No, you're forcing me to have these experiences and even falsify my memories so you can be like, oh, we matched it. You felt like that before. Trash. And memory manipulation, you're going to find out, is something they commonly utilize to make the target individual accept and to identify with this personality that they've created. These trash who are known to force people to get sexual arousals toward children. And you're going to hear that. Then you see the other black kid over there try to do the same thing. Give me stimulation sensations. Like, nah, that's matching. No, that's matching with what you guys do. Every time I see a child, especially little girls, they're like, oh, no, that is because they want to make it look like they're not manipulating me. It's like, no, little girls is true, though. That's a match. Little boys is ass when you feel something, but little girls is trash. So you just make me have this experience when I see little girls and want me to be a retard. And be like, nah, little girls. And they go through those nasty scripts. The clowns are known to be forcing people to get sexual arousal. Even parents who are targeting individuals are now forced, and you're going to hear that. Women, mothers, forced to get sexual toward their own children. Nurses, people in the teachers, women. You're going to hear this women in position where they're supposed to be looked at as like nursing individual, like caring. Women who are teachers, who are nurses, are being forced in this nasty. In my brain, they try to create a mental battle with some random. And then you hear this noise campaign, because this is the typical things. Once they're implanting degrading things in my mind, they try to like discern me with this incel mass shooter that they want me to think he was a target individual. He made videos about how he hated black people and everything else, and tried to be like, yeah, no, that's not a target individual. But Steve Marlowe is a target individual. Mariana is a target individual. Catherine Nestor is a target individual. Myron May is a target individual. These clowns are just trying to turn people into insanity. Because they try to cover up that they do harmful things to women and children, and the pedophilia type of torture has been called out by even women, saying that as a nurse, I'm being forced to get sexual arousals. As a teacher, I'm forced to. Women in this, they even try to make it look like my child should be taken away from me. You're going to hear these testimonials. Reality. This is the clowns who should be like, no, with you, no, we match it to girls. It's real little girls. Trash us. And you're going to hear the tactics of gaslighting. Some of the manipulation of perception is, for example, the teenager that you're seeing over there. To make me look at her private part. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to take this. I was like being careful, just slowly scrolling back up because I want to take the screenshot to make this video. As I scroll up, they just control me just enough for just the private part to show. I'm like, oh, disgusting. They wanted me to look at that as well. So they can create this. I was like, yeah, that's proof. Like, no, you're just forcing me to have this experience. You're forcing me to look at that. So you can be like, and they have that control. You're going to hear all that. All meant to paint you in this fashion. Everything they've done. Even that baby. This disgusting trash are disturbing. And then the fact that they use this teenage trash to play the rape victim, all of that has been validated. Memory manipulation, you're going to hear. And the gaslighting tactics from noise campaign and whatnot. This trash are low life. And they go through the little scripts of things they say that they think they're still going to be subscribed. I'm going to be subscribed to the. When I face this trash, it's going to be a problem. And they still try to maintain. It's like, but you're going to hear via voice to call how they try to say things to make you accept these things. Like, it's not you. You're not. Try to find different formulas of saying you're not you, it's you, it's not you. Whispering that. You're going to hear the same thing. Try to make you internalize this manipulation. Target individuals stay strong and see this trash for what they are. They've been humiliated. What they do is what they do to others. And there's no way to cover that up. In the future, there'll be even more validation because people can pull all the testimony and see the similarities that shows the matches of how they torture people and torment people. They're very systematic. And this teenage trash use their fucking stupid. And you're gonna hear how they force target individual to be idiotic. Be like, yeah, they're watching you. You're known. It's like the same old tactics. For me, I put that in their faces, and what's happening is it's getting worse for me. Because they wanted to be painted as some kind of heroes, protectors of children and women, when you clearly hear what they do. They torture target individual. They torture babies. And then manipulate target individual in these disgusting ways to paint themselves as the protector of children. It's so disgusting. And they not only just manipulate the brain, they condition the brain like that. They want you to become that. They train manipulation, all kind of just really training your brain that way. This disgusting low life. That's why I'm so thankful that they end up becoming a bottom fearful entities that are so filled with pedophiles in the program that rewires the brain this way and that even torture babies.
Yes, those claims are a central and deeply distressing pillar of the targeted individual narrative. TIs frequently restate their experiences as a total brain hijack, where their biology and morality are turned against them. The community claims that perpetrators use a combination of remote neural monitoring, RNM, and electronic stimulation to synchronize physical sensations with disturbing P-type frames. 1. Forced physiological arousal. TIs testify that they experience synthetic or remote-controlled sexual arousal that has no basis in their own desires. The biological trigger, TIs claim that handlers use directed energy frequencies to stimulate the hypothalamus and the pudendal nerve. This creates a physical response, blood flow, tingling, or forced orgasms, that the TI cannot stop. Proximity timing. The most common claim is that this arousal is triggered exactly when a child is nearby, such as in a park or a grocery store, to make the I feel like they are a closet predator. 2. Forced thought process and mental scripts. Beyond just images, TIs claim their actual internal monologue is manipulated. Word salad/directed thoughts. They describe perps injecting specific P-type words or phrases into their stream of consciousness. The TI may be thinking about their grocery list when a disturbing, unrelated thought about a child is slotted into their mind. The agreeable frequency. Yes, female targeted individuals, TIs, frequently report the same P-frame and P-type mental torture, though they often describe it being applied through a different social and psychological lens. While the core of the torture remains the same, implanted intrusive thoughts, forced physiological sensations, and social framing. Female TIs often state that the perpetrators exploit maternal instincts or social reputations to maximize the trauma. 1. The corrupted maternal instinct. Female TIs often claim that the program targets their natural protective instincts toward children. Induced aversion. Some report that while they are around their own children or grandchildren, they are hit with P-type intrusive images or V2K commentary. They describe this as a tactic to make them feel unfit or dangerous to their own families. Synthetic emotional responses. TIs claim technology is used to flip their emotions, inducing a feeling of coldness or disgusting thoughts when they should feel maternal love, creating a deep sense of psychological soul death. 2. Forced arousal and physiological shaming. Like male TIs, female TIs report forced sexual arousal via directed energy, but they often link it to different frames. The caregiver frame. Female TIs may claim they are targeted while working in professions like nursing, teaching, or childcare. They testify that perps trigger physical sensations or P-thoughts, specifically while they are performing their professional duties to make them feel like a secret monster in a position of trust. Public mirroring, TIs claim that just as they are forced to experience a synthetic physical sensation, a woman with a stroller or a group of teenagers will appear and signal that they know what is happening, often by touching their own nose or coughing. 3. The babysitter/mother social frame. The P-frame for women often involves the threat of losing their social standing or their own children. CPS weaponization. A major theme in female TI testimonials is the fear that perps are gathering neural evidence of these forced thoughts to report them to Child Protective Services, CPS. The Whisper campaign. They claim female perps, neighbors or friends, spread rumors that the TI is unstable or weird around kids. This is seen as a way to isolate the female TI from the mom groups or community networks that usually provide support. 4. Psychological and biological factors. Medical professionals often look at how these experiences Yes, testimonials from the targeted individual, TI community, frequently state that perpetrators, perps, use advanced psychological and technological methods to force the victim to internalize the harassment. According to TIs, the goal of the handlers is to make the TI believe that the disturbing thoughts, images, and P-frames are their own natural thoughts, rather than the result of external manipulation. 1. Internalization via gaslighting. TIs claim that perps use a tactic called neural gaslighting. This is the process of making the TI doubt their own moral compass and identity. The That's You script TIs report that V2K, voice-to-skull voices, will constantly whisper, "You thought that," or "That's who you really are," immediately after implanting a disturbing P-type thought. Moral erosion. The belief is that if a person is bombarded with the same intrusive imagery and arousal for long enough, they will eventually stop fighting it and accept the perpetrator's version of their identity just to make the cognitive dissonance stop. The therapy trap. TIs claim perps gaslight them by telling them the voices are their own subconscious or suppressed desires, echoing psychiatric language to make the TI believe they are discovering a hidden evil side of themselves. 2. Memory narration. The life review tactic. A specific claim in the community is memory narration. Yes, testimonials within the targeted individual, TI community, frequently include detailed claims of induced perceptions and sensations specifically designed to support the P-frame. TIs restate these experiences as biochemical and neurological puppetry, where the goal is to create a false reality that the victim is forced to inhabit. 1. Induced physical sensations, biotelemetry. TIs claim that perps use directed energy weapons, DEWs, to trigger physical responses that are then mapped onto the P-frame. Forced nerve stimulation, the sensation of tingling, electric needles, or sudden warmth in the groin area. TIs claim this is timed to coincide with a child appearing in their line of sight, or even a child's voice on a TV show. The groinal response trap. TIs describe being forced to feel a pulse in their private areas. They believe the handlers use remote neural monitoring, RNM, to detect if the TI is checking for a sensation, and then they boost the signal to make the TI feel as though they are experiencing genuine arousal. 2. Induced visual perceptions, synthetic telepathy. Beyond intrusive thoughts, TIs report a more advanced form of forced perception called synthetic vision, augmented reality overlays. Some TIs claim that when they look at a child or a teenager, their vision is augmented by the technology to make the child look more provocative or to highlight certain features. This is described as a digital filter, placed over their actual eyes. Peripheral hallucinations, claims that the program uses lasers or holography to make the TI see a child in their peripheral vision, e.g., in a dark hallway or a park at night, where none exists, creating a state. In targeted individual TI testimonials, claims regarding the sexual torture or genital pain of their children are often described as the most extreme form of leverage used by handlers. These parents describe specific physiological and behavioral indicators that they attribute to remote electronic manipulation rather than natural health issues. Here are the specific claims TIs make regarding these indications. 1. Indicators of genital pain and electronic hits. Parents in the TI community report that their children experience sudden, localized pain that the parent interprets as directed energy strikes. The jump response. TIs claim that their children will suddenly jump, wince, or clutch their genital area while sitting quietly. The parent interprets this not as a muscle spasm or clothing irritation, but as an invisible zap from a directed energy weapon, DEW. Unexplained redness or rashes. Testimonials often mention waking up to find burn-like rashes or red marks on a child's private areas. While doctors might diagnose these as contact dermatitis or heat rash, a TI parent often restates them as radiation burns from through-wall monitoring systems. Persistent itching or stinging. TIs claim perps use microwave frequencies to induce a persistent stinging or itching sensation in the child's genitals, intended. Yes, memory manipulation is one of the most significant and distressing claims within the targeted individual TI community. Many TIs believe that their memories are not just being monitored, but are being actively edited, erased, or even implanted by external operators. These claims generally fall into three terrifying categories for those experiencing them. 1. Memory wipes and deletions. TIs often describe sudden gaps in their timeline that they do not believe are natural forgetfulness. The blank state. A person may be in the middle of a task and suddenly have no idea what they were doing or why. They interpret this as a remote delete command sent to their brain. Missing time. Similar to older UFO abduction lore, TIs may find themselves in a different room or realize hours have passed with no recollection, attributing this to a technological blackout induced by perpetrators. 2. False memory implantation. This is the belief that artificial memories are being downloaded into their consciousness. Synthetic past. Some claim they have vivid memories of events, often traumatic or shameful, that they know never actually happened. They believe these are implanted to confuse their sense of identity or to program them with certain beliefs. Dream manipulation TIs often report technological dreams that feel more like movies or simulations. They believe these are used to implant false information or train them to react in specific ways while they are most vulnerable. 3. Alteration of existing memories. This is a more subtle form of manipulation, where real memories are supposedly recolored. Memory reframing. The belief that technology is used to make a happy memory feel shameful or a neutral memory feel like a threat. Identity erasure. By constantly editing what a person remembers about themselves, TIs feel their core personality is being slowly dismantled, a process some call digital lobotomy. The science Yes, testimonials from the targeted individual, TI community, frequently state that perpetrators, perps, use advanced psychological and technological methods to force the victim to internalize the harassment. According to TIs, the goal of the handlers is to make the TI believe that the disturbing thoughts, images, and P-frames are their own natural thoughts, rather than the result of external manipulation. 1. Internalization via gaslighting. TIs claim that perps use a tactic called neural gaslighting. This is the process of making the TI doubt their own moral compass and identity. The "That's You" script TIs report that V2K, voice-to-skull voices, will constantly whisper, "You thought that," or "That's who you really are," immediately after implanting a disturbing P-type thought. Moral erosion. The belief is that if a person is bombarded with the same intrusive imagery and arousal for long enough, they will eventually stop fighting it and accept the perpetrator's version of their identity just to make the cognitive dissonance stop. The therapy trap. TIs claim perps gaslight them by telling them the voices are their own subconscious or suppressed desires, echoing psychiatric language to make the TI believe they are discovering a hidden evil side of themselves. In the targeted individual TI community, a noise campaign is a claimed form of psychological harassment where external sounds are believed to be deliberately timed to the victim's private thoughts, physical movements, or speech. The goal, according to these claims, is to produce a state of sensitization or noise anchoring, making the victim feel constantly monitored. Typical claims of noise harassment. TIs report a wide variety of sounds that they believe are orchestrated by perpetrators, perps. These are often everyday noises that are perceived to occur with impossible frequency or timing. Car-related noises. Car horns, honking immediately after the TI has a specific thought or says something private in their home. Engine revving. Motorcycles or loud cars revving outside as the TI tries to sleep or concentrate. Alarms. Car alarms being triggered repeatedly in the TI's vicinity. Emergency sirens. Timed sirens, police, fire, or ambulance sirens starting the moment the TI opens a window, leaves their house, or starts a specific task. Neighbor and home noises. Slamming. Neighbors allegedly slamming doors, dropping heavy objects on the floor above, or banging on walls in response to the TI's movements. Coughing/sneezing. People in public or neighbors through walls coughing or sneezing at the exact moment the In the targeted individual TI community, a noise campaign is a form of perceived psychological harassment where external sounds are believed to be deliberately timed to the victim's thoughts or movements. The core of these claims is noise anchoring, the idea that perpetrators use specific sounds to trigger the TI or signal that they are under constant real-time surveillance. Typical noise campaign claims. TIs report that these noises are not random but are orchestrated to cause maximum psychological distress. Common examples include timed car noises. Car horns, alarms, or engines revving at the exact moment a TI leaves their house, has a specific degrading thought, or enters a new room. Emergency sirens. Believing that sirens, police, fire, or ambulance, are directed at them or triggered when they perform a specific action, such as opening a window. Construction and maintenance. Sudden, loud construction or lawn mowing that starts immediately when the TI tries to sleep or concentrate, which they interpret as electronic sleep deprivation. In the TI community, a noise campaign is described as a systematic 24/7 psychological warfare tactic used to break down an individual's mental health, cause sleep deprivation, and keep them in a state of constant fight or flight. TIs claim these noises are not random, but are synchronized and targeted to occur exactly when they are trying to concentrate, sleep, or relax. 1. Common types of noise harassment. TIs report several specific categories of noise that they believe are being used against them. Acoustic sensitizing. The belief that perps use repetitive sounds, like a pen clicking, a whistle, or a car door slamming, to program the TI to have a stress response every time they hear that specific noise. The work crew tactic claims that construction, lawn mowing, or leaf blowing starts the moment the TI sits down to work or sleep and stops the moment they leave. Vehicle-based noise, reports of revving engines, heavy bass from car stereos, or screeching tires specifically when passing the TI's house. Neighbor noise, the thumping campaign, claims that neighbors have been recruited to drop heavy objects, hammer on walls, or vacuum at 3 a.m. specifically to disrupt the TI's sleep. 2. Advanced technology claims. Beyond physical sounds, many TIs claim the noise is being projected directly into their environment or mind. V2K, voice to skull. The claim that perpetrators use microwave auditory effects to beam voices, insults, or hissing sounds directly into the TI's head so that no one else can hear them. The hum, reports of a low-frequency vibration or industrial humming sound that seems to come from the walls or the ground, which they believe is a directed energy weapon, DEW, intended to cause headaches and nausea. Infrasound claims that ultra-low-frequency sounds, below the range of human hearing, are used to induce feelings of dread, anxiety, or physical vibrating in the chest. 3. The synchronicity claim. The core of the noise campaign claim is timing. TIs restate their experience by highlighting meaningful coincidences. As soon as I turned off my light, the neighbor's dog started barking. The moment I started a private phone call, a siren went off outside. Whenever I try to meditate, someone starts a chainsaw nearby. 4. Psychological and physiological perspectives. Yes, this is a specific and common claim within the community. Many self-identified targeted individuals, TIs, report a phenomenon they often call forced stupidity, induced brain fog. They don't just feel like they are being watched, they feel as though their very intelligence and ability to think clearly are being throttled by external technology. 1. The idiotic thought patterns. TIs describe several ways their thinking is supposedly manipulated to appear or feel idiotic. Forced speech errors, feeling like they are being made to stutter, use the wrong words, or forget simple names mid-sentence to make them look unintelligent to others. Stupid thought injection. Some report having repetitive, nonsensical, or childish thoughts forced into their minds, which they feel are intended to degrade their intellectual self-esteem. Cognitive blocking. The sensation that as soon as they try to think about a complex or important topic, a beam or signal blanks their mind, making them feel Yes, many targeted individuals, TIs, believe that teenagers and even children are recruited as perpetrators, or perps, to participate in their harassment. This belief is a central part of the gang-stalking narrative, where the TI perceives that a vast, coordinated network of people in their community, including neighbors, delivery drivers, and local youth, is working together to psychologically break them. 1. Teenagers as street theater actors. TIs often claim that teenagers are used for street theater, planned, odd, or repetitive behaviors designed to catch the TI's attention. Because teenagers are naturally more active in public spaces, hanging out in groups, riding bikes, using phones, their normal behavior is often reinterpreted by a TI as a psyop. The mocking teenager. If a TI is experiencing forced idiotic thoughts, they may see a group of teenagers laughing nearby and believe the teens were instructed to laugh at that exact moment to mock the stupidity being injected teenagers or youth groups are being recruited to frame, harass, or entrap them is a frequent and specific theme. This is often described as a subset of gang stalking, where the youth are used because they are perceived as less suspicious and more legally protected. Here is a breakdown of how TIs restate these claims. 1. Teenagers as street theater actors. TIs often claim that groups of teenagers are paid or coerced into performing street theater to unnerve them. Bright colors and signaling claims that teens wear specific colors, like red or neon, or use their cell phones in a synchronized way to signal to the TI that they are being watched. The loud conversation tactic TIs often report teenagers standing near them and having loud conversations that contain keywords or private details from the TI's life to show they have been briefed by the perpetrators. Mobbing in public spaces. The belief that teens are sent to crowd a TI in a grocery store or park, intentionally bumping into them or blocking their path to provoke a reaction. 2. The setup or entrapment claims. One of the most serious claims is that teenagers are used as bait to frame the TI for criminal activity or social misconduct. False accusations of predatory behavior. TIs frequently claim that teenagers are sent to loiter near their homes or follow them in public to make it look like the TI is stalking or watching the children. They believe this is a setup to get them arrested or labeled as a pedophile. Provocation for video. TIs claim teens will harass or insult them while a second teen records the interaction. The goal, they believe, is to capture the TI having a meltdown or acting aggressively, which can then be used as evidence of mental instability or criminal intent. Cyberframing. Some claim that teens, being tech-savvy, are recruited to hack the TI's Wi-Fi or devices to plant illegal material, framing the TI for crimes they didn't commit. 3. Why teens? The TI logic. TIs believe there are strategic reasons why the program uses young people. Plausible deniability. If a TI complains about a group of teenagers, they are often told they are just being sensitive or that kids will be kids, making the TI look paranoid. Legal